Hello everyone, I'm Dave, and today I'm going to talk to you about having an MRI. MRIs are pretty well known. It's a scan where they can look inside your body. If you're about to get one, you've probably heard that you go inside the machine and it's very tight and compact. That's usually what people are worried about, being inside of a tight space for a long time. I've had a few MRIs now. My MRIs have been to check for cancer in my body. I have multiple myeloma, a type of bone cancer. The MRI looks at my skeleton to see how reactive the cancer is or where it is. There's lots of different reasons you might get an MRI. The MRI itself is painless. It doesn't hurt. It's a bunch of magnets that spin around and realign molecules of water in your body. It's actually a fascinating machine if you wanted to read about it. It's pretty cool the way it works. When you go to get an MRI, they're going to ask you if you have metal parts in your body or on your body, like piercings. I have 3 piercings on my left ear. They're all surgical steel, so they're not affected by the MRI at all. The reason they don't want you to have metal is because the machine is magnetic and it can pull chairs across the room and stuff. It can turn things into projectiles. So there's a fear that if you have a piercing that's the wrong kind of metal, it might try to pull it out. There's also the fact that it could heat up. Surgical steel is totally fine. I have a titanium plate in this wrist. It's totally fine. Your high-grade stuff is going to be okay. There is also a concern if you do a lot of welding or metal grinding, like that kind of work. I do it sometimes, but not a lot. The metal flakes can get into your skin and the magnets might affect that too. You're going to have to wear clothes that have no metal in them, like metal buttons. We're all wearing face masks, so that metal piece on your nose, they might have you take your mask off. When I go to get an MRI, because I've done a few now, I wear clothes that I know can go inside. That way I don't have to get into those robes that are open in the back. It's just more comfortable. It's easier. I usually wear flip-flops when I go. That way I can just slip them on and off. As I said, most people, when they hear of an MRI, they know that they're in a tight space, and it is a really tight space. The machine itself is like a big cylinder, like as big as a van, like a large vehicle. It takes up a big part of the room. The room's going to be otherwise empty because there can't be stuff in there that can react with the magnets. The people scanning you are going to be in a different room. They put you in the machine and then they go in the other room to run the machine. They can talk to you through a microphone and usually they can hear what you're saying too. If you have a problem, you can say, hey, get me out of here. I'm feeling cramped, and they will. The machine, as I said, is large and cylindrical, and there's a hole through the middle where they put you. And it's important that that space is small because they need to get close to you with the magnets that are spinning around you. So they have this platform thing that slides out. They lay you on that, and then they slide you in. And you're going to be moving back and forth on that platform as they scan you. Most of my MRIs have taken about an hour. I did have one that was only 45 minutes where they were scanning a very high resolution scan of just my sacrum. So you can plan on being in that machine for about an hour. It's a psychological thing, really. They put you in and you go in head first. I wish they would put us in feet first and just leave our heads out, but that's not how it works. You lay on the table, you go in head first. The feeling is kind of cramped because you're sliding into this tube and there's no room for you to move your arms, there's no room for you to move your legs. If you freak out, because I think about this stuff, what if I freak out? If you freak out and try to eject yourself from this thing, like try to run out of it, there's not going to be much room for leverage, there's not going to be much room to push. It would actually be hard to crawl out of the thing. So psychologically, being ready to go into this tube is probably what most people need to deal with when they get an MRI. For me, I'm not really afraid of cramped spaces. I'm afraid of freaking out. Like, I'm afraid that if I did freak out about the space, then I couldn't get out, and then it would be worse. So I have to go in there really calm, focusing on the fact that I'm not afraid of tight spaces. The top of it is really right here, like just above your nose, like a couple inches up the tube that you're inside. You don't have any room inside there. It is kind of nerve-wracking. The way I do it is, as I'm going into the machine, I shut my eyes, and I just don't think about that it's there. I just focus on thinking of other things. Usually I just wander around in my thoughts while I'm inside, and you can listen to music. You can't take headphones inside, of course, but sometimes they will have earphones that you can wear and they pipe music in. They ask you what kind you like. For me, I just do my normal. When I go to sleep at night, I don't fall asleep quickly. Usually I'm just thinking about what I'm going to do the next day, what I did yesterday, every mistake I've ever made in my entire life and every one I ever will make in the future, pondering all that stuff. I never open open my eyes. I think that's what saves me, is not looking at that thing right above me. If I open my eyes and see it and then close my eyes again, I know it's there. But because I close my eyes before I go in, it's not a big problem. When it's over and they say, okay, we're taking you out now, I do open my eyes because I want to get used to it being that close. But as I'm going out, I know I'm not trapped anymore, so then it's fine for me. Practicing getting used to tight spaces is probably important if you're claustrophobic. For me, I'm afraid of heights. I have kind of gained control of that fear by constantly confronting it. It doesn't really work perfectly, and I don't know if it works for everybody. But for me, it has worked. It's taken 40 some years, but just constantly going into high places and going places where I know I'm going to be afraid and forcing myself to get through it, that has helped me a lot, so that now it's easier and easier over the years. It's not easy. I'm not happy in high places, but I can handle it. That's one way that I challenge my fears and move towards freedom from them. If you need to get used to being inside the MRI, I would recommend practicing going underneath your bed. If you have space enough underneath your bed for you to slip under there, try to go under there and just lay there with that closeness in front of you and feeling that limit to space. If you're too afraid to go under and just lay there, you could try going in little by little, like lay on your back with your feet underneath the bed and then move up until your knees are under the bed and then your waist is under the bed and then your body is under the bed, and you have that closeness and that feeling of something present right there. You might be able to get used to it. It might freak you out, but at least you'll be a little bit prepared for the feeling. Otherwise, when you're in the MRI, you might have contrast. Contrast is when they put an IV in your arm, just a line so they can put stuff in you. They put in this chemical that goes into your blood. It helps the machine see with higher resolution. It feels cold going in. It doesn't feel good. You'll feel the coldness going up your arm. It gives you kind of a metal-y taste in your mouth, but really it's not that bad considering all the other things you might have to go through. And that's it. The MRI is the least intrusive thing you're going to have to do in your medical treatments. It's not something to be worried about. It's only the tight space. Just get used to the idea of the tight space. That's all you have to deal with. You're going to hear the magnets spinning around you, and that's loud. And take earplugs with you in case they don't have them there. They usually give me earplugs, but you really need them. It's very loud inside, and you don't want to have all that noise in your head while you're just trying to lay there. It actually will hurt your ears. If you're going to have an MRI, I hope this explanation helped you see it's really not that hard. It's nothing to be scared of. If you can just get over the fear of closed space, you're not going to have any trouble at all. Thank you for watching this video. Farewell.